Hey there, guys, gals, and your freaky pals. Welcome to the dojo. I am your instructor for the day. You can call me Moth. Now you probably clicked on here because you were like, oh, somebody who can teach me things about the claws that I might have known, might not have known, whatever. Well, your sensei is here to provide. Today, I am going to be doing an in-depth dive into the claws and how they work. You're going to be seeing numbers, you're going to be seeing techniques, you're going to be seeing all sorts of cool, crazy stuff. Like, here's a fun little fact. Did you know that the air pounce on the claws will always travel 20 meters unless it's interrupted, while the dashing pounce will travel anywhere from 12 to 16 meters depending on the angle that you look at when you activate it? Well, now you do. And if that made you go, wow, I didn't know that, that's really cool, and that seems like helpful information for these things, then stick around, because I've got so much more ready for you. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. You can find the Nitro Claws over here in the Nitro Dome by talking to the NPC Shuri. She sells one set of Nitro Claws per match for 300 gold apiece. Now, the claws have 3 different methods of attacking the opponent. First is your basic 4-hit combo. Nothing crazy there. Each hit does 35 damage, totaling to 150 points of damage with a full combo. Next, you have an air dash, or pounce as it's called. What's that? Deals 50 damage on a hit. Nothing crazy to it there. And, on top of that, third option is a dashing pounce, which, again, 50 damage. Nothing particularly crazy there. Now, there's another mechanic, which is the purple meter to like the side of the reticle that has been charging up over time. You can also see it by the number at the bottom of the bottom corner of the Shuri's gloves in my inventory. This is your supercharge meter, as you may be able to tell by the little description of like the abilities over in the side of the screen. Now, the claws on their own are nothing insane, but by overcharging them, they can become a very powerful tool. Now, you charge the claws by dealing damage, which is a rate of 5% gain per like hit, and it doesn't like tally actual damage numbers, just the amount of times you hit them. You can also gain it by sprinting at a rate of 50% charge, roughly, over the course of 6.5 seconds, totaling up to roughly 7.6% gained for every second sprinting. And finally, you can stand still to passively charge them, or just, not have them equipped and they'll still be gaining charge passively, which it happens at a rate of 1% every 1.6 seconds. Now, supercharging the claws consumes the entirety of the meter, and it begins to kind of tick down over time. And once this is active, you temporarily gain increased damage on your basic slashes, the slashes damage going up to 45 per hit instead of 35 per hit, and you have unlimited stamina. Additionally, you fully refund any of the meter that's consumed by knocking or eliminating an opponent. As you can see there, I knocked him, he gets, I get some meter back. I finish him, I get more meter back. Disengage, that's hurting a lot. Now, if you can notice, this lets me, air dash around quite a bit. That's pretty much, that's really it for the basics, as far as like what you actually need to know. Now we're gonna get into, more of the kind of technical aspects of the claws, combos, just general techniques and things that you should keep in mind while using them, and various things like that. First things first, your sprinting pounce is a horrible move. It only allows you to do a sprinting pounce when that little purple flash happens, and what that means is that you end up having to sprint for a decent amount of time, unable to attack, because if you attack early, then it'll interrupt it for a slash combo. And it takes you about like 1 or 2 seconds for you to actually be able to do a pouncing slash, which is the sprint pounce, which is really unfortunate when you can just jump and air dash instantly. when you hit an enemy or a surface or whatever directly, then it will interrupt an air dash. So, for example, if I hit that, it automatically triggers it. Additionally, the air dashes, the dashes have a sort of AoE around them. It's a bit of a, kind of just a circle from my understanding of it. Haven't seen specific frame data or anything, but that's going off of just what I've observed with these things. Additionally, you can also kind of glide off of a surface by dashing into it. That was a bad example. Hang on. So you find something that's got a slope, kind of like that, and you hit it at the right angle. It's a bit tricky to do. This rock's better for it. Then you can sort of glide off of it like that, even when it should normally trigger, as you can see there. And what you saw right there is the sort of your combo is your best method of actually dealing damage with these things. Because if you were to just run right up to an opponent's face and start spamming the claws, you're gonna die. But if you were to do stuff like that, for example, you can get a lot of damage out really quickly. And as a nice little extra sort of note, any of your pounce attacks perfectly transition into a sprint. So, for example, if I air dash and then press sprint, I can immediately start up running. If I'm already running and I do any kind of that attack, so for example, a jump strike, I will immediately resume into sprinting so long as I'm holding forward, which means that essentially the best method for actually going after people looks something like this. Kind of just want to run around them in circles, kind of like that, while hitting them so that it's hard to actually like get a bead on you, and so that it's hard to really do much about you. Because your best bet with these is to just jump people, startle them, and keep them on the back foot the entire time from just, oh no, there's a guy in my face and he's smacking the crap out of me and I can't get a beat on him, and they freak out and they die. Or they don't die, but it's more effective than just running at them and doing that. And another important thing to note, by the way, is that the basic attack has animation lock. So essentially you are locked into the trajectory of the slashes. You can't really you can't jump, for example, in the middle of a slash. And in order, if you were to do that, you'd have to wait for the slash to end, which means that if you were to, say, accidentally perform a slash instead of a jump attack, you accidentally press the slash button instead of jumping, then that means that you can end up kind of just dooming yourself. Hang on a second. Jetpacks, as I think you can see right here, are absolutely going to be your worst counters. Because they can kind of just fly around, and you can't really do very much about them. I think as you can see there, we definitely were able to take him down pretty nicely. And this is the worst part about the claws, is the fact that you really do have to, you have to recharge the meter if it goes away. You can't, cancel it early or anything like that, so that means that you just end up kind of having to run into a wall a lot, which gets very annoying very quickly. Now, one, I guess, final note about the claws and how you use them is that you've got to really make sure that you want to, use your overcharge when you actually use it properly, You can't just pop it whenever you get into a fight because you might end up wasting it. And that's one of the biggest issues with the claws is this season with the jetpacks, right? If you go at a player and they just, decide they want to leave, and you've used your overcharge, then there's not really much you can do about them because they can just escape so incredibly easily. And I mean, it really sucks, and it's not super fun to play against. So as you can see right here, I've got him on the back. I've got him very much on the back foot. Kind of got him crap scared out of. But because of the jetpack, he can just do that, and then I can't really do a whole lot about him. But I mean, fortunately, he ended up kind of landing towards the end, so I actually got a chance to really, sock it to him. Someone's shooting at me. The claws are ultimately I would not hesitate to call them top 2 best melee weapons that Epic has ever introduced. But this is kind of just a really bad season for them right now, and I'm really hoping that Epic changes that, because they're so much fun to use, but the jetpack right now makes it so that you can't really use these things very well. Now, of course, I do have some suggestions to make these much more fun to use, make them all have a lot more kind of interesting depth and nuance and the like to them. Now, the first thing I'd recommend is increasing the rate gain for, you know, your various, just the rate gain for meter. Additionally, I also think it would be really nice if you could pre-cancel and sort of get charge refunded. So, here's what I mean, right? Let's say you get your charge up, you know, you kill someone or you pop it and they run away and you're at 60%, right? Normally, you would have to wait for that charge to run down, and then you'd have to spend about like 12-ish seconds recharging it by just kind of running around a bit, right? It would be much better, in my mind, if you could just reactivate the ability while it's active and kind of cancel the supercharge and save any of the meter that you currently have, just, you know, in your back pocket. So instead of going down to 0%, now you're back down to 60%. And then you start from there when you're building up meter and stuff. I think that would be something that would really help out the claws in terms of just being, you know, more, like, working better in this season. The jetpack is also, again, huge issue, and I think that's just more of a general meta thing, and they definitely need to tune the crap out of those, probably kick them into the pavement a bit in my mind, just because there's so little that you can actually do against a jetpack if you don't have one. Now, as you can see here, this guy also has some of the, oh, he got away. Alright, well, he's dead. That wasn't the worst thing. Although, unfortunately, oh dear. That was quite the shot. But anyways, I think the claws are awesome. I love them so much. They're not quite as fun as the Nitro Fists were, but they're still just really, really solid and very good overall. And they feel a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to go on, like, you know, sprees and whatnot with. But again, the meta surrounding them and the items and all that surrounding them are the main thing holding them back. If it wasn't for, you know, stuff like the jetpack, then these would be much in a significantly better place in terms of, like, being really, truly viable. I mean, as it stands right now, a lot of fun, but I don't think I can recommend running them just kind of on their own with nothing else to them, because they're kind of just not built for that. I'm doing that because I'm a little bit crazy and I'm working on a challenge video for, you know, the YouTube, but I mean, just if you want to kind of have them on passive play, they're a pretty solid close range option. They're great for escaping. Here's a really good example of some tech you can do to escape, because your air dash, right, there's a little bit of depth, you know, cool depth stuff. When you use your air dash, it kind of, you can't do it again until you touch the ground. You probably notice that by the little icon at the side of the screen that tells you the move's going grayed out, right? However, if you use a Cerberus dash, or if you, like, activate a jetpack, it refunds that. So you can, for example, do stuff like this. Now, what that does is it lets you, you can catch up to people really easily, you can escape really easily. If you overcharge the claws, then you can really get some distance going. But, you know, if your jetpack runs out, then you're kind of shit out of luck. But, you know, the jetpack doesn't really run out of fuel very fast, so you get a lot of mileage out of the jetpack, so you're probably not going to have that happen too often. And while that can be nice for just really kind of bum rushing or really pushing people who have jetpacks, it's still not quite as good as it could be in regards to just, you know, countering them. So right here, what you can see is I'm getting ready to rush them because I know that they're probably low. Ooh, they went down inside here, which is really good for me. Because they can't really escape. And there we go. Oh, they tried to got me with the claws. Didn't work out for them very well. Oop. But, yeah, that's an example of what happens if you try to use the claws, but you're not very good with them, and you go up against somebody who has much more knowledge of, like, what they're doing. This could end poorly. Yeah, this could end really poorly. I just hope that they take their sweet time up there so that I can, like, get out, or they just leave. Oh, wait, no. If they get in a fight, that works out, too. Okay. Are they still hanging around? It looks like they got distracted, so I get to leave. So as you can see right there, that's a really good method for escaping. You can get a lot of distance out of it. And that puts me very much ahead of them because, you know, they're all the way over there and I'm all the way over here. Works out well for me in the end. So now I'm going to take this chance to do the thing that you spend most of your time doing if you try to run just the claws, or heavily rely on the claws, and that's running into a, you know, wall or just running in circles in a field for a little bit. Now, as it stands right now, a lot of the claws is very much just kind of a waiting game. If you're going to use this, and again, I'm starting to just kind of give some of the strategies that I've gotten here because I've run out of things to say about the claws, so I'm just ad-libbing until the match ends one way or the other. But you're going to spend a lot of your time waiting. You're kind of like you're a panther, you know, you're a hunter. You're not like bum rushing them down. You're sitting kind of on the sidelines waiting for the moment to strike, because you can't just bum rush into a fight and expect to guaranteed win. You can't even expect to do like an insanely good job like that, because again, if they have a jetpack, then they can escape really easily. It'd be one thing if there weren't any jetpacks, you could, you know, kind of use shield bubbles and stuff like that to get distance, but because again, jetpack, they can just kind of run away from you and there's not much you can do about it. So your best bet once you reach kind of like these later circles is wait for them to start fighting. Like multiple of them start fighting because they'll be burning through resources like their jetpack fuel and stuff like that. And then once they've kind of really run down on their jetpack, because that's the big one you want to look out for. Them have like ammo or shield or whatever aren't your biggest concerns because you can do, you know, you can do a lot of damage. What you really want to look out for is their jetpack, because if they use their jetpack a lot and they're dashing around and all that stuff, that's an opportunity for you to just bum rush them and kind of beat the snot out of them, right? Because that's really that's the only way that you're really going to end up taking those kinds of fights, is just by jumping them before they get a chance to react, and while their only real like escape tool, the jetpack, is on kind of backup on cooldown. Let's see. Oh, there's someone back there behind me. All right. It can be difficult to tell from a distance if somebody has like a jetpack or not, just because you don't have like, you know, you don't have like a scope or anything, so you can't really peer in, kind of get a look at them and see for certain. So you've got to kind of go off of just like observing them, hope for the best. In terms of medallions, because medallions are really important, the best medallion for this challenge, without question, is Doom's Siphon Medallion. Second place, I would actually put Mysterio's Medallion. And you might be wondering, wait, isn't that thing, you know, terrible? Doesn't that just suck a ton? Isn't that like a terrible, terrible medallion? Yeah, it's not that good. But it lets you play sneaky. It lets you really kind of get the drop on people. And it makes it so that you can escape fairly easily, provided your opponent doesn't have like, you know, good eyesight or doesn't know what to look for in terms of the cloak. So like, I don't know, I'm not in the situation, but a good example is like if somebody, you're in like kind of top, I don't know, 3, top 4, top 5, whatever, and you get kind of, you know, you get put through the ringer and you got to back up and kind of just get an opening to, you know, heal or whatever, then jetpack, or not jetpack, the medallion, Mysterio's Medallion, is going to be great because you can kind of break line of sight, crouch, and then just kind of wait for him to run off a bit before you start healing up. And even then, it's just really nice because you can use it to get closer to people without them really knowing you're there, because they can't hear footsteps, they can't turn around and just be like, oh, there's a guy behind me, I better shoot him. So, very useful tool in that regard. The third one, I'd say, third best one I'd say is Emma Frost's medallion, and that's just because pinging people can be, pinging people can be very handy when it comes to, like, just being able to keep track of people and where they are, and not, like, it's information gathering. Information gathering is always going to be a really nice thing to have. So, I'm not sure if they're coming over this way. Alright, so one of the things you got to be really careful about is you can't, like, if you do Rift, for example, right? You can't drop on people. Your best usage of Rifts is just kind of getting distance and being able to get a good view of the battlefield and where people are going to, like, end up being. Just because you don't, you can't, like, drop on someone and kind of clobber the snot out of them. That's not really something that you are very super well set up to do. Okay, wait. He doesn't have a jetpack. Okay, he takes the bounce pad. I know he's got the claws. But yeah, so right here, I can't, like, hop on a bounce pad and fly over to him too, because he's got a gun. That could end really poorly for me. Alright, yeah, so there's 3 people left. There's the person up on the hill who I know has a jetpack. And then Mysterio down over there who doesn't have a jetpack. He might have picked one up off the person, I'm not sure. And again, that person right there is by far the biggest threat, just because they have a jetpack. But I can use him. Because what I can do is I can just kind of hang off to the side, let them fight, and then swoop on in and kind of beat up the survivor, wail on him some, get some good damage in, that kind of thing. Ooh, wait. This is an instance, for example, where Mysterio's medallion is very useful, because you can just be invisible right about now. Ooh, this is a very tense situation. I'm not gonna attack them, because they just end up driving off. But it seems to me... Oh. Well, that didn't give me away somehow. Okay. Alright, and now we go right for the blitzing. Okay, I gotta try and get some distance and see if I can charge up a bit. Looks like Mysterio won, so that's not the worst for me. What the? I have never seen that happen. Okay, that's really weird. Hey everyone, this is a post-video addendum on watching through the footage of that last match and what even happened there. So hang on, I'm playing this back. Let's play this back. Let's play this back. Okay, so right here, this is like the dash before. This is like the dash where whatever it was that happened. I'm looking at the angles, and that's the moment when I teleport. It seems to me, and hang on, it's such a small increment of time that like scrubbing it doesn't, like I can't even like advance it with like the 5-second markers or whatever. So sorry, I have to kind of rewatch the whole thing a bit, but my best guess right now would be a specific piece of like terrain geometry and some sort of a weird interaction with that. I don't even know how I would like, begin to recreate it. So you can see here, I start the combo, I hit him twice, which I think he didn't have any overshield, or he had 50 shield. So this was really frustrating, because he had 50 health left. That was 50 white health. He had 50 health left. One more hit would have killed him. But for whatever reason, this hit I'm trying to figure out which piece of geometry I hit that did that. Okay, so it looks like that little bit of kind of like curved wall, I hit that, and it just launched me into the air. And I was so, I guess, shocked by what happened that I didn't even have time to process and use my jetpack. I don't even like have any words to, I don't even know what the hell just happened right there. But it looks like it knocked me up high enough for an 80 damage kill. Hang on, let me look something up real quick. How does fall damage work Fortnite? Okay. Fall damage starts at 15 meters high, about 4 builds high, and deals at minimum 10 damage. It can eliminate a player at full health at about 30 meters. And okay. Okay, so there's 3 different. Okay, it looks like there are 3 different thresholds beyond, like, that aren't an insta kill type thing. So, hang on, let's see. Seems to me, so yeah, so fall damage starts at about 15 meters high and deals at minimum 10 damage. It can eliminate a player at full health at about 30 meters. So it looks like whatever that was itself launched me up into the air roughly 30 meters, if not, like, I'll probably I'd say around that point based on the fact that it did so much damage. I'd guess probably 25 meters. I can't find any numbers for, like, specific math that I could use there outside of, like, save the world. But that's so weird. I mean, my best guess then is that it triggered some, like, hitting the geometry, that little bump in the terrain at some point in time, launched me up in the air, but it launched me so fast that it doesn't even seem like there was an animation. It just teleported me, like, up into the air. That's weird. That's really weird. Alright, well, that's really it for this video, honestly. I was kind of hoping to get a dub for this, but second place finish is always, you know, we'll take that. That's a good finish. Yeah, I hope you learned some stuff from the claws, and just about how to use the claws, and from this video and all that, and, you know, if you have any questions or thoughts, whatever, you just want to say, I don't know, bingus, then go down to the comments and give me your thoughts. I wish to see the things inside your brain. Tasty thoughts. But yeah, that's really it. I'm working on a larger video. I think I made a minor reference to it. It's a claws only challenge. If you're interested in that, which, fun little side note, but I think I might be the only person currently seriously attempting that challenge. But yeah, if you wanna, like, you know, stick around and see that when it eventually happens, then you're more than welcome. And who knows, I might even stream some of the attempts and stuff. I'm up to 50 right now. It can't get that much higher, can it? But anyways, yeah, that's everything. Thank you a lot for stopping by, watching, making it this far. I mean, I was gonna say to my unscripted rambling point, but this whole thing's been kind of an unscripted ramble, so yeah. But yeah, I hope you have a fantastic day, and Bing chilling.